Good evening, my friend. Welcome home. Happy Wednesday. I am Lou Mangello. It is my favorite night of the week. Thank you so much for joining us together live here in the clubhouse for WDW Radio Live. If you are watching live, do me a favor, grab a snack, sit back, relax, tag, and invite a friend to watch with us in the comments. And if you're watching on the replay, don't forget to join us every Wednesday right here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Lots to talk about tonight, from what's going on in the parks to the countdown. We are down to less than 48 hours before the possible finale of WandaVision. There's a new festival in town I want to talk about, and I've got some stuff from the prize closet to give away. So maybe we'll play a little 20 questions, and of course, take your questions, your comments, and feedback about the show. Speaking of which, let's get right into thanks to members of the WDW Radio Nation family, including some new and longtime members, including Michael Mercandante, Chris Delcado, the Wyckoff family, Deck Officer, Joe Jeffrey, Quincy Julian, and Jackie M. I sincerely appreciate all of your love, all of your support. You literally help keep the lights on, and I love being able to give back to you each and every week. If you are a platinum member, stay tuned to your mailbox or UPS box or whatever box your packages come in, because I've got a special care package coming to you. I call it sort of a Walt Disney World buffet in a box, and you can try and figure out exactly what that means. But that to be showing up soon. But you can help support the show for as little as just $1 a month. And if you go to WDWNation.com, you can learn more. Speaking of buffets, speaking of food, let's talk about this week's and really even the week before shows, because it's been back to back, belly to belly, talking about food. And guess what? Next week's probably is going to be too, because there's a new festival in town, and I'm coming in hungry, and I'm going in tomorrow. So let's first talk about this past week's episode. Really loved hearing some great feedback and questions about Kona Cafe, because as I said in the intro and throughout the show, I think you hear Kona Cafe, the first thing you think about is Tonga toast, you think about a Samoan, macadamia nut pancakes, whatever it might be. But we were very, in case you couldn't hear, and my son, I think, really embodied just how much we loved Kona Cafe's lunch. And I think for me, I keep sort of thinking back to the duck fried rice. Is it on the higher end of the pricing spectrum? Absolutely. Is it worth it? You better believe it, because it's a week later and I'm still thinking about just how good it is. And make sure you bring some sort of a bag, a knapsack, a lunch bag, a pail, whatever, because you're going to want to take those rolls home with you. They're just going to throw them out anyway, and there's nothing wrong taking the rolls home, asking for a little to-go cup for some of that macadamia nut butter. But I would like to know from you if you have been to, Courtney even knows, right? She knows about the biscuits and the macadamia nut butter. Have you been to Kona Cafe for lunch or even for dinner? Because I think it's one of those, and it's really for dinner. They have first of all, they have a very extensive menu for lunch, which I was very surprised about, especially now. I figured it would be a little bit more scaled back. And it's even more expanded for dinner. And they have arguably one of the best steaks on property. And when I finally get around to the show, the video, whatever it's going to be about the best steaks on property, a top 5 live, whatever it's going to be, Kona Cafe could be in the discussion, and it's not normally. And I think that's telling, because so many people don't necessarily go, other than Amanda Catherine Cicero says, Dinner Kona is one of our hidden gems. I'm sorry that I'm ruining it for you. It's also usually, it's one of those places that you can get a reservation. And as I said about lunch, it's a nice way to take a break from Magic Kingdom. Just a quick walk over. David Zeidelberger agrees as well. James has not been to Kona Cafe. James, if you're looking for a dining buddy, I'm your man. I live like 5 minutes away. I could be there anytime. Amanda said, we had dinner there. Everything was so incredibly flavorful. Dinner was so good, but come on, Mangello. I mean, Tonga toast, tasty. Look, Kona Cafe, there's nothing wrong. And I think having Kona Cafe twice a day is a pro play right there, especially if you're staying there or at one of the monorail resorts. It's nice and easy. Father Christmas says, how long has Lou been working on the best steaks? Father Christopher, I think it's really incumbent on me to do extensive, thorough, and lengthy research because this is a very important topic. Of all the 620 some odd shows I've done, not including the 100 I did at Mouse Tunes, this may be one of the most important because a good steak is not hard to find, but trying to find the best of the best, that's a tall order. If only there was somebody, anybody, who would help me do some of this research and go to places that I need to revisit again, like Shula's, since it's been reopened. Uh, I'm sure I can. I'll dig up somebody along the way. So, Kona made us a special meal when they discontinued an item that was my husband's favorite. Valerie, what was the item that they discontinued, and how are you able to make that magic happen? Kona, yes, steak. Greg, steak. I kid you not. Dinner is very, very good. Dinner is not only wonderful at Kona Cafe because of the menu and the service has always been wonderful, but when you're done and the night is sort of starting to wind down, being able to walk through that tiki torch lit pathway, past the pool, over to the beach, by the fire, watching when they come back, hopefully soon, the fireworks over Cinderella Castle, watching the electrical water pageant go by, getting a drink or a Dole Whip, whatever whatever suits your fancy, is a really nice way to end off the night. So there's advantages to doing dinner time as well as breakfast. Although I have been craving me some Kona Cafe Tonga toasts. Martin Shergold from the United Kingdom, representing the United Kingdom, by the way, tonight is Martin Shergold. We actually did dinner there for a Wednesday live show in 2017. Remember breaking up the show to come join me at the Poly. Oh my God, Martin, I do remember that. Gosh, 2017 feels like a lifetime ago. Beatrice Dennis, the happiest person on the planet, and it is the highest compliment I can give you. Says Kona Cafe is typically a Christmas morning breakfast place. I love that because I love that it's part of your family's Christmas tradition. So Ryan Michael says the steak at Kona rivaled my favorite one at Flying Fish, which too I have not been in. Flying Fish pre-Blue Zoo and obviously pre-Boathouse, Flying Fish was my favorite restaurant in Walt Disney World, like hands down favorite restaurant. Now it's got competition, it's good for everyone. Crystal is asking, what is the web page? I'm not sure what web page you're asking for. Just pose that question again for me. Zach also liked the steak, and Darren appreciates the dedication to detail. Becky says, and you can hear Becky in her voice. Where's the puppet? She says, steaks was a promise on my list. Listen, Becky, you fly. No, you fly, you buy. It goes something like that. But Becky's a very expensive date, by the way. Very expensive date. Darlene Nagy says, you are my girl. Melanie says, I will make a reservation. Jim says, I owe you lunch. Listen, man, for our lunch meetings, we've met there before. It wouldn't be the first time we met at Kona Cafe for a meal. Kenyon did not get a notification. Yeah, that's why it's so important. I hate fighting this battle with Facebook that you have to not only be part of the clubhouse, turn on notifications and see first there, but make sure you like the WDW Radio page as well. Same thing, go into notifications, turn on see first. You got to jump through a lot of sometimes flaming hoops with Facebook. I try and make it as easy as possible. I wish there was a way that I could push out notifications. I'm trying to figure out a way if maybe I can push out notifications to the email list. So if you have not signed up for our email list, make sure you go to WDWRadio.com. You can do it right now, literally, as we're speaking. Go to WDWRadio.com, sign up for our free email newsletter, which we're about to relaunch, all brand new, spanking new. But you'll also get the 102 Things to Do at Walt Disney World guide, and you'll make sure, and I'm going to start trying to do notifications. Amanda says, if only I knew somebody heading to Shula's that had an existing reservation that I could just sort of sneak up on and try some of the meat and potatoes. Only. Aaron Schisler, that is actually my Han Solo blaster from 1977. It is my original one since I was a little kid. It's so far away or else I'd grab it, but it's in like mint condition. I haven't put batteries back in it, but I think it actually still works. So Greg Dex says, "You sold me." Good, man. I love hearing that. Is it worth staying at the Polynesian over the next few months? So, Kevin, yes and no, right? So, if the monorail is important to you, then no. If construction walls and signs sort of redirecting you are an issue, no, because you walk up and there it is, a construction zone out front. They literally tore down the monorail station and will be rebuilding it from ground zero. That being said, it's also not very crowded at the Polynesian. So as I was there, the last couple of times I was there were not a lot of guests there at all, which is really nice because you sort of feel like you have that resort all to yourself. Obviously, the boats are still in use, so getting over to Magic Kingdom is not an issue. It's a very short walk over to the Transportation and Ticket Center, so that would be the only sort of downside would be the monorail. And obviously right now Ohana is not reopened, but I've got a feeling, not that tonight's going to be a good night because we know that it's going to be, but I have a feeling that Ohana is well, they'll probably open it when they reopen the monorail. So whatever that time is going to be, we will have to see. So Aaron also digs my little that's my Kevin Kidney Mr. Toad statue, which you may recognize from the Haunted Mansion graveyard. By the way, it is the one that they it's not the one from there, but it's the one that was molded after the one that's the in the is there an upcharge for steaks on Luber Eats? Luber Eats works very, very cheaply. Like the only tip I need is a meal, which maybe is not maybe not all that cheap. Filet Oscar at the Boathouse is the best steak. Mike, you said it, man, not me. I know people think I'm a Boathouse homer because I am, and I love that place so much. And you think it's all about seafood, but it's not, man. It's a Gibson Steakhouse, and it is it is the best steak on property. I see Becky's comment about being an expensive date, a plate or five of sushi. Yeah, but it's so worth it. You tell me that meal that we had at that Edo style sushi restaurant in Japan was not worth it. I know that I was giddy as a schoolgirl when we sat down, and I think when you feel that way about a meal, it makes it work. It makes it worthwhile. Jeb, do I believe that the Disney will bring back the college program? Jeb, I want to believe, I have hope and faith in my heart that eventually it's all going to come back. That is what I think. It's what I feel. It is what I wish for. I have no obvious timetable on it, but I think, look, the college program and the international programs are vital parts of the Walt Disney World infrastructure and program. So I think they not only wanted to come back, but they needed to come back for a variety of reasons. And I look forward to celebrating when those college program kids and when those international cast members get to come back with them because I love seeing them there too. Will the monorail station be done for the 50th? I think so, Mike. I absolutely think it's going to be done. They're making fast work. So the construction crews at Disney, man, I give them a lot of credit because they build houses faster than they build them here in Orange County. they build attractions and stuff faster than they build houses here in Orange County, which go up, in case you're from the area, very, very, very quickly. Ohana's meat on a stick. Those Ohana noodles, I don't know what they put in that noodle sauce, but good Gandhi, that is so good. Steak at Jiko, also fantastic. I agree. Street food in Japan. I did not steal Mr. Thaddeus Toad. He was given to me. Everything that's on back there. Actually, most of the stuff there was a gift, including come on, Manjula, you can point to it that way. That John Romita, that's actually a giant Spider-Man book with all copies of original Romita art. It's gorgeous. It's huge and heavy, but I'll have to bring it over one night. Jim misses the international cast at EPCOT. I do as well. I miss the college program. Let's see. Let me just quickly catch up here. California Grill filet will melt in your mouth. I haven't been to California Grill in ages, and can you believe this? I keep saying this, and I have not had California Grill brunch yet, ever. Like never, ever in my whole life. And I'm a man that was, this body was not built for a lot of things. Brunch is definitely top 5 things that God put me on this planet for. Brunch is on that list. Very, very high. I love me a good brunch. By the way, speaking of brunch, if you haven't done Boathouse Brunch yet, so good. I need to go. I might have to do a live dining review there. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it because I'm sure I can find somebody to do a live dining review. Speaking of dining, let's segue from food to food, right? We talked about dining solo last week. We're talking about Kona this week. Tomorrow, we turn the page because starting tomorrow begins. Oh, no, wait. Oh, I spoiled it. The taste of the EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival 2021. It's a mouthful, I know. If you think that's a mouthful, wait until you see how much I'm going to eat tomorrow. And I'm going bright and early, not just to EPCOT, but tomorrow they're opening up Blizzard Beach. So follow along with me tomorrow virtually as I will be live from Blizzard Beach and from EPCOT Center's Taste of International Flower and Garden Festival, my favorite festival, by the way, because it's beautiful and delicious. So I'm going to be posting mostly on my Instagram stories just so I can get it out quick and, and fast to you. I'll also try and go live if I can throughout the day, but please make sure you turn on notifications on Instagram. This way you can follow along on my stories as well. So that's going to start pretty early tomorrow morning. I think we're heading out relatively early. So Melanie Jones says it's going to be so cold. Is it going to be cold tomorrow? I'm not actually swimming tomorrow, just so to be clear. Plus, nobody wants to see this in a bathing suit. I did 2 meets of the month. Remember those meets of the month? I did one at Blizzard Beach, and I did one at it's going to be nice tomorrow. Oh, it's going to be so nice tomorrow. It's going to be like 73 degrees. Good God, that's great. I did 2 meets of the month, and I apologize for anybody that had to see me in a bathing suit. So don't forget to wait 30 minutes for your Flower and Garden Fest to go down before heading down Summit. Fortunately, we're doing it the opposite way, and I am not going to participating in any of the water-based activities tomorrow, although I do look forward to getting back into the water parks sometimes. Becky, I probably won't start posting probably until at least after 9-10 my time. So whatever the schedule is going to be, no, not 6 a.m. early. That was so. And thank you, by the way, huge thanks to everybody who followed along. And if you enjoyed the photos from Galaxy's Edge at sunrise last week, I had a very special, very small opportunity to go into Galaxy's Edge, not just before the sun rose, but before cast members were even in there. Like literally having that. I want to call it a silent park, but it wasn't, because you heard every sound. You heard every creature rustling in the bushes. You heard every bit of background audio, and it almost sounded so much louder because you didn't have that hum of crowd noise. And I shared some photos. I shared videos on Instagram. I have Instagram story highlights that have both pictures and videos, as well as in the clubhouse. And do me a favor, if you dig them, don't just like them, but if you can share those out, that is super, super helpful. I should have a graphic, but I don't. But if you if you enjoyed the photos from Galaxy's Edge at sunrise, please, 1, let me know, and 2, share them out if you can. I'm still seeing steak conversation. Like, clearly the steak thing is hitting an emotional and gastronomic nerve because it's very exciting for people. I just saw a Topolino. When I saw Topolino was the best steak on property, I pretty much could have guaranteed that it came from Lisa Donato Glassner. You wave the Topolino filet very hard, and which is fine, and I agree, it's delicious. My kids had Nicholas had it when we went for his birthday, Marion's, I don't know, somebody's birthday. We went to Topolino, which really was just an excuse for me to get the chicken sugo rigatoni, which still is some of the best pasta I've ever put in my mouth, and I've put a lot of pasta in this mouth, obviously. But you're right, the filet is outstanding. I'm not going to say that I need somebody to do a live dining review of Topolino's with me, but I'm going to have to find somebody to do a live dining review of Topolino's with me very, very quickly. Melanie Jones says we need a steak tour. Like, that's a meat of, like, MEAT. That is a meat of the month right there. A culinary steak tour um, around Walt Disney World. Mark Baldwin weighs in with the Dr. Albert Fall steak at Skipper Canteen. I might have to go back and try that too. Steaks around the world. Okay. Excuse me. Kerry says, I've had the rigatoni. Based on your review, life-changing. There's not a lot of foods that rise to a level of life-changing. I agree. It's that good. The steak is that good. Clearly, he ignored the 3 times I posted about Topolino's. Yeesh. Becky, the comments go by so fast and furious, not like the really crummy ride at Universal Studios, but I won't talk about that. But I did not see it. But Becky clearly also weighs in about the love of her steak at Topolino's. Becky, when you come back, you can take me to Topolino's too. But what I think we need to do is I'll get a rigatoni, you get a rigatoni, because you have to have it, and we'll split the steak as like a side dish. It's like an accoutrement is like the steak. That right there is a perfect meal. Get a little bottle of wine, get a little cannoli. That's a nice night. That is a nice night. I have a feeling that when Becky finally comes back to Walt Disney World, she's just never going to leave. Becky's just going to come back to Walt Disney World, and she's like, you know what, Chris? I'm staying. And if you want to come to Walt Disney World, look what I did here. If you want to come to Walt Disney World, Becky can help you. Like, she and her team of agents, I saw Sue Passauer was here. They will help you not just get your reservation, but if you're looking to have one of the best steaks on property, they'll help you get the ADRs too. So there you go. Go visit them at mousefantravel.com. And it's going to be funny because when I finally do see Becky, there's going to be this weird conflict of emotions. Like, she's going to want to hug me and then strangle me and slap me all at the same time. So it's like being in an Italian family. I'm used to that. You walk into your grandmother's house, they're yelling at you and then they're hugging you all at the same time. So I get it. And Becky, yes, my eyes do light up when I talk about food, which my family, like my father, if he was still alive, would be so surprised because I hardly ate when I was a kid. So it's all I'm just catching up on all the time that I didn't. I used to do the trick, and I taught this to my kids. Like, you get like the peas and the corn and stuff in your dish. You don't want to eat it. And I can literally see myself at my grandmother's table in her basement, spreading them all around the plate. So it would look like there was really less. And then she would like come over and put it all in the middle, which is now exactly what I do to my kids. Not that my kids have any problems eating. Mama Melrose has a great steak. Stop the presses, Vicky Vale. Mama Melrose's. I have a lot of steak work to do. Thank God I didn't give up steaks for Lent because it is going to be a very meat-filled month or two. By the way, speaking of EPCOT, right? So quick reminder about tomorrow, and I am so behind on this. Speaking about EPCOT and not just what's coming tomorrow in terms of the festival, but what is coming, and this is a separate conversation for another day. I have been meaning to talk about this, and I'm such an idiot because it's been behind me for a few weeks, maybe a month or so now, and because my gigantic freak head has been blocking it, I have completely forgot to show this to you. So a couple of months ago, I met up with a friend and listener, Mike Pasquarello. Mike, I don't know if you're here. And Mike says, look, man, I've got something that I want to give you. And we've been chatting online for a while. And this is something that he made. And I wish I had, I was just looking to see, I don't have a link specifically to a store, but I will get it for you. So we were talking about EPCOT and the changes that are coming and some of the things that we love. And Mike made this. So this, as you may recognize, is not a maintenance service elevator. I'll put it on this side so you can see it better. But this is an EPCOT Illuminations torch. And you can see the little World Showcase logo on there as well. So Mike designed these and he 3D printed it. Look, 3D. So he 3D printed this cool Illuminations torch, which, as you know, there are 20 torches around World Showcase Lagoon. But wait, there's more. if I had production staff, they would turn off the lights so you could see the Illuminations torch glowing. Um, it is super cool. It is super well made. I have no skin in the game. I have no like affiliate program. Okay, wait, stop now. Shush. I have no affiliate program, but I will find a link to Mike's Etsy store, or if you just go into the clubhouse, if somebody wants to maybe take a screenshot of that, we could ask. His name again is Mike Pasquarello. And Mike, if you're in here, I apologize. It's taken me so long. But Mike's working on a couple of other, I won't spill the beans. He's working on, if you like this, wait till you see what else he's working on, which I'm not sure is available yet. But it is super, super cool. So really, really well done. And you can see it, like you charge it up via USB and he put the little electronics in there. So yeah, my apologize, Mike, that it's taken me so long. But if you're watching, holding the audio up to the camera. Oh, can you hear? Could we able to hear it? So there you go. So I've been meaning to do this since he gave it to me, and again, it's just been behind me, and I completely forgot. So, Nicholas should be production staff and segment producer. Pad his resume early. I've thought about it. I've been just since I've been doing live video since 2007, since early 2007, and I've always sort of done it by myself. The way I do a lot of things, it's easier and it's more difficult because from a production standpoint, there's a lot of stuff that's going on screen here, and I've got other devices going. But yeah, I never wanted to sort of encumber or obligate somebody to certainly have to sit in here and in the home studio and produce. So that's why sometimes you'll see maybe my microphone's not on, maybe the lighting is off, maybe something doesn't work because it is sort of a one-man band. So I appreciate all of your. Kevin Tolman's been here since 2007. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And I recognize your name now over the years. What was your, and here's a quick question for anybody that's been around on the Facebook Lives going back to 2007. Originally, it was on Ustream, and then there was a few other different platforms. There was Periscope and a little bit of time on Meerkat before I completely migrated over to Facebook, which I love for a variety of different reasons, one of which is that it's your real name as opposed to Dopey Dude 77. But if you were there way back when, do you remember what your username was? Because a lot of people didn't use their real names. They used one of, they used a screen name. So what was your screen name way back when? Yeah, flashback to Periscope. Crazy. And I still remember the first time I ever went live on Meerkat, because they had just announced it at Social Media Marketing World, which is where I was supposed to be like a week ago. And I went live like 2 days or the day after, or maybe it was the day of that it premiered, and tested it. I was testing that alongside with Periscope. Let me see. Let me quickly go back. So Jim Orhosky, there you are, man. Disney 05. LSU Steve with Steve Williams, DJR Music, NYI, FYI Sean, Ursula Shadow. Oh my God. Mickey's number one fan. It's so funny because I haven't made that connection, but I know. Oh, and thank you for doing that, Deborah. There's the link to Michael's shop. It's Main Street Miniatures, which I should have written that somewhere on here, and I didn't. But there you go. Kendall Foreman was more to the world after her first blog series on WDW Radio, which we have to go back. I know we have another show we have to do together. Kevin was Polly Beach Sunsets. Wow. Becky was just Becky. Amanda was, and still is, Pixie Dusted Days. Tacey was Cinderella Belle 62. I never made the connection. Paisan Mike. Sasagula River Queen. Oh my gosh. How funny. How funny. Crystal, by the way, thank you so much for being a bronze member of the WDW Radio Nation. I will send out your welcome letter and your welcome package, which I have a stack of them right over there. I will get that out to you. Martin Shergold obviously was Moja 10S way back. Dad Duck 08. Yeah, Steven Schwartzrock, Ustream was amazing and also problematic. It was a very new technology at the time. We really were, some of the first people out there, certainly doing it on a consistent basis, as we were every week. Grace, you were Grace at the Beach Club? Why did I not know that or remember that? Tina Mouse, Rev Tigger, jeez Louise. Darlene, that's right, you were Zeusy Woo, which I have no idea what that means. I'm not sure if I want to know what that means. So, Mike, yes, Mike, wait, we were just talking about, this, and I apologize again that it's taken me so long to remember to show this, because I think the week you gave it to me, I wasn't home, and then like I had it behind me and it's sort of gotten lost behind my head, but I wanted to make sure tonight that I showed it and played it. There you go. Luis Ramos says, and the World Showcase Award goes to Lou Mangello. I'd like to thank God and my family and everyone here in the WDW Radio Clubhouse. This couldn't happen without you, literally and figuratively. So take that, DiCaprio. Is Teppen Edo worth it? I think so. I think it's worth it for the experience. I love Teppen like cuisine. I love having it sort of just not just for the show, but I like having it made fresh. Plus, they have a great sushi menu in there too. Annette was Travel Queen, Shaggy Freak, Jenny Ginsburg. Oh my gosh, Jenny Ginsburg. It has been way too long. You are a Space Coast mouse. Paul's no longer Paul in Connecticut, but he always was Paul in Connecticut. We were getting ads in Spanish. That's right. I remember when the ads started popping up and they were interrupting the broadcast. I forgot about that. That was sort of the beginning of the end of Ustream, because I had no say or control over any of those ads. I didn't make any money on those ads, so it was even worse. But they would be disruptive for the type of shows that we would want to do. But we're happy here. I think we're happy here for now. There's something else I'm working on. It's very early. It's very, very early. But there's something that I have been thinking about and wanting to do for years, and I might just give it a shot. I might ask you to be part of a very interesting social experiment, as it were. Stay tuned. I'm incubating that, and I still haven't forgotten. Remember a month or two ago, I posted something small is coming. It still is. Life has just been a little chaotic for me. And just so you know, like, I have a lot of ideas rolling around in my head. There's a lot of things that have made it onto the board. There's a lot of things where the planes are in flight in terms of going from idea and concept to execution. But I really like to be not just strategic in what I do, but very thoughtful about it. I never want to introduce or release something without having really thought it out from process to completion. So there is something that I want to do, but I don't want to start something that I can't finish. So, because when I do this, I think I'm really going to like it. I hope that you will too. I'm probably going to test it with the WDW Radio Nation first. So stay tuned. Maybe during our next Nation call, if you're on it, you might be some of my early test subjects. So stay tuned. But it's going to be a commitment to something. And this will hopefully all make sense at some point, until some other bright, shiny object pops in the way between now and then. So let me quickly catch up here. There will be no Grease Flash Mob, nor will there be a looking at the whiteboard. Jeff C. Oh, brother, it's so funny to see you. I mean, not funny to see you. I wish I was seeing you, because when I saw Mike's post about social media marketing world and God, I missed that event for so much, but I miss you too, brother. And I was thinking back to our incredible meal and just friendship and conversation that we had last year at Nobu. So the only thing that makes Nobu better is having Jeff there. And if you go to Manly Pinterest tips, Jeff can help you too. whether you're a man or not. He's got amazing Pinterest, and he's just a really nice guy. Becky's blood pressure is going up in deep cleansing breaths, green tea, yoga, whatever, Doritos, whatever needs to lower your blood pressure. Don't worry, Becky. I mean, you should be a little worried. You should probably be a little worried, but yeah. You probably want. You know what? Get those blood pressure meds. Could she somebody start an IV on those on those BP meds for Becky? So Tina says he loves the toad statue in the background. Yeah, I really tried to limit what and I was tempted this week because I had gone downstairs and I decided to pull a number of things from eBay auctions that I was going to list, including my carded Star Wars figures from 1977, 78, and all my Empire Strikes Back figures, which are still like, and I have all my Battlestar Galactica figures, and I'm like, ooh, I have my little Battlestar Galactica display here. Maybe I'll start putting them out. And I'm like, no, you can't. Like, you can't see all the Funkos that are up there and up there and up there. But so I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. And there's also 3 buckets of stuff. I can't turn the camera that way because you'll see other stuff that you're not supposed to see yet. But I have 3 buckets of stuff that I'm not putting up. Jeff's getting his second vaccine on Friday. Hopefully a trip to Florida. Dude, when you come to Florida, you better hit me up, man, because we are going to eat, and we're going to eat well, my friend, I'm sure. Katie says, I can hear Becky's exasperated sigh from here. I'm sure if I look at my phone, there are angry, borderline offensive text messages from Becky probably coming in. Yes. Okay. So Fred Abley, you're fracking killing me. Fred, did you see my last week my Galactica from Sideshow Collectibles that came in? So Sideshow sent me this amazing little. Wait, now I have to get it. It's this super cool die cast, incredibly detailed. I have never seen the level of detail and quality as the stuff that Sideshow Collectibles makes. I mean, top to bottom, it is so incredibly well made. This is a replica of the Galactica from 1978. They also have a 2003 version, which, like, now I feel like I almost need to get to add it to the collection. So let me see. I should have some images. Yeah. So Sideshow Collectibles. Not to sort of quickly turn this into a plug, but I will, because I really, really like their stuff, and I never endorse stuff that I don't use and like. Becky, I keep putting this one up for you, man. That is not a screenshot from a movie. That is what the Thor statue actually looks like. Like, the sculptors and the modelers are just remarkable. And price points go from, I think the Galactica is like $50. Like, it is not crazy. They also have higher end and different scales of models too. Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, stuff from the Disney parks. So, Sue, I don't need a bigger, I'm trying to minimize my collection, but I can't help it because there's some really good stuff that's out there. I really, really like the stuff from Sideshow. So, and their Mando with the little Baby Yoda is insanely cool. So if you go check them out, use that link. There you go. So that was not meant to be a plug for Sideshow, but we started talking about Galactica, and I still love the 78 show. Really, I think the 2003 series is some of the best sci-fi on television storytelling ever. Like, I think it's really, I already have the name picked out. Like, I keep, just like maybe I'll have to incorporate it into the retro 70s, 80s podcast that I've been saying that I wanted to do for years, that is not up on the board, but lives rent-free in my mind. I even have a cool name for a Battlestar Galactica podcast. I thought about doing a rewatch podcast, but then I think about the Lost rewatch podcast. So I need more time and probably a lot of mental help anyway. Amanda Bonner from Disney Travel for All is getting her first shot on Friday. Mazel tov, as we like to say. Good for you. Good for you. So, speaking of things that we're watching, things that we're enjoying. Couple of things I want to mention quickly. So I mentioned on the Clubhouse yesterday, I believe, or the day before, I asked a question about who was looking forward to seeing Raya and the Last Dragon, and I put up a poll because it is going to be released in limited run for in theaters. It's also going to be available immediately on Friday on Disney Plus for $29.95, much like they did with Mulan. Or are you going to wait until it becomes available just as part of the Disney Plus subscription, much again like they did with Mulan? I had a chance to watch Raya. The Disney Studios sent me a screener of it, and I was going to talk a little bit about it tonight, but I'm going to hold off. I will. Maybe I'll talk about it in. Maybe I'll talk about it in the spoilers group. And if you're not a member of the spoilers group, go to www.radio.com/spoilers. We're having some great conversations, by the way, about WandaVision. I'll get to that next. But we'll also, maybe I'll share some thoughts in there about Raya too. Kenyon very quickly says, Battlestar or Firefly, what's better? That's really hard, man, because Firefly was such a limited series. And I don't even include Serenity, the movie, in the, depending on how you watch the cut, the 14 or 15 episode series. It was so good, but so different. But I think Battlestar Galactica consistently, and I'm rewatching now because it's what I do as I fall asleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. Incredibly well scripted, compelling, character driven. It's not, it's not that Western in space. It is a great, and Edward James Olmos is amazing. But it's a great character story that just happens to live in space. And I love sort of the tie-in to Earth and our history. If you've never seen it, you can watch it on Peacock. And there's no plug here, but it's on the Peacock app. You can watch it for free. There's some ads, but they're limited, and it's not as crummy as the NBC app. So, but I do love Firefly. I've rewatched Firefly many, 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 many times. I like Firefly a lot, and I wish a lot of things. I wish that series should not have been canceled when it was, but I digress. Anyway, back to Raya and the Last Dragon. I did watch it. I was embargoed from saying anything until today or yesterday, I think. But I do want to hold off, and I don't want to say anything to, and not that I think that I have this sort of ability to, but I don't want to say anything that's going to plant any sort of seeds in your mind one way or the other about the film. What I will say is, because I do have thoughts on a number of aspects of it, but I will say that visually it is a stunning film. It is a stun, and I don't think we expect anything less, especially at this point from the studio. I think the pacing is excellent. Like, it is a well-crafted story. I think I think there's some very interesting parallels and relatable themes, especially right now, that make Raya a very interesting watch. There are other thoughts that I have that I will save because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I'm curious to see when and how you plan on watching it, and then what your thoughts are. And maybe I'll do like a live inside the spoiler group, because I think I can articulate it better this way than I can typing it out. Plus, I just don't like typing. I'm a horrible typist to begin with. So, but yeah, I'm curious to hear. So Kenyon, so Kubo is different, because I think people forget that Kubo is stop motion animation. Like, it literally is a frame by frame, picture by picture, stop motion animation that's put together. And you forget that when you watch that film. I think Kubo is gorgeous. It's a great story. I like Kubo a lot. Like, I bought Kubo when it came out. Like, I rented it, and then I turned around and I bought it because I liked it that much, which speaks volumes, because I don't normally do that. I just, rent them but I liked Kubo a lot, and I'm really curious to see people's thoughts. I did get to watch Us Again. Us Again is a great short. It is a really, really good short, and again, it's starting to blur the lines between what's real and what's not. The because when I watch, and I watched that a couple of different times, because I like to watch. Whenever I watch anything, I watch through multiple lenses. I watch it for that first impact, and I sort of just take it in and enjoy the film for what it is, and then I like to go back and I pay attention to what I'm listening to. Right? What does the score sound like? What does the theme music sound like? If it's a musical, how does the music impact me? I go back and watch for the acting. I go back and watch for the visual effects. You can watch Us again and only pay attention to the background scenes because it looks like it's raining on your TV. The reflections, the lights are just gorgeous, and it's a beautiful story. It's a really beautiful story too. Again, I won't spoil anything for you, but I think when you're able to tell a story without speaking a word, Wally, beginning of Up, Us Again, some of the other shorts, that's when you really, that's when the storytelling becomes remarkable, right? You don't need dialogue. We had faces. That's exactly what holds true here. So when you do watch Raya, I absolutely want to know what your thoughts are on the film, and maybe we'll have a conversation about it in the spoiler group or in the clubhouse very, very soon, because I want to get my thoughts out of my head, because some of them might be a little surprising, and I'm just going to sort of leave it at that. But there's a lot of there's so much good stuff to watch now, so much good stuff that's coming. I posted last week, the Disney Plus specials. Disney Plus schedule in terms of what is coming is so good. It's they've done such a great job of breadcrumbing us through the next few months. Knowing that at least through July we've got some great stuff, especially from a Marvel front, and going into the pick of the week once again. We've got to keep talking about WandaVision, and if you have not watched WandaVision yet, you might want to go get a snack, because we're going to talk a little bit about WandaVision, because I think that's what we're all talking about is WandaVision. Once again, and forgive me for being, repeating myself, but I haven't had this much fun watching TV since Lost. And even more so now, because unlike Lost, where there was this fictional backstory that we were trying to find through some of the ancillary content that was being created online and fan theories, there is a history that we are able to delve into and try and put these. We've got this jigsaw puzzle that is very, very cloud. The pieces are very cloudy, so we're trying to figure out who is who and what is what. But I am Amanda Bonnet. It's 31 hours, right, till episode 9. Psh, crazy. Possibly episode 10. We'll see. But it's a show that I find myself thinking and talking about in ways that I haven't done before. Like, I didn't have that with Lost, because remember, Lost was 2004. So internet was a different place. Social media did not really exist. There were still discussion forums, but it wasn't this immediate. And look, I mean, I'm having, there's people that I'm having conversations with on Messenger, and we'll just message each other at crazy times in at day or night, like with random theories about WandaVision, because we're rewatching it over and over again. And I've never other than Lost, and Battlestar Galactica and Firefly, I have never rewatched anything like this, but right after they air. Like, I watched the last episode 3 times after I watched it first. Like, I needed to see it over and over again. And not to give you too much information, but as I was getting ready for the show tonight, I jumped in the shower, and of course I was thinking about WandaVision. And last night, the night before, I don't know, they all roll. I'm working at like 12:30 last night, and I just have, usually I'll sort of, for a change of scenery, I'll move downstairs to the couch. It's quiet, nobody's there. And I had Spider-Man Far From Home on, So this might be a spoiler. So just very quick. I don't think it's a spoiler, but I need to get this out of my head. I had Spider-Man Far From Home on, and I realized or remembered that Far From Home takes place. I can say this. It's not a spoiler, right? But Far From Home takes place right after WandaVision does. And if the scene that made me think was that when Mysterio, I swear, I know I'm a nerd, but when Mysterio appears to Peter and he says that he's from the 833 universe and this sort of parallel world, Peter doesn't blink an eye. Like, it wasn't this, what are you talking about? Multiverses? It's probably not a big deal because maybe it's been introduced because of WandaVision. So, it's not a spoiler, but I was like, did they really sort of connect that far out that Peter wasn't surprised? Because we know that in WandaVision, the multiverse is going to be introduced. Is there going to be some sort of bleed over? Look, New Jersey is not that far from Queens. I'm just saying, my God, if Spider-Man shows up in the last episode, flames from the side of my face. I don't think that's the cameo, but the fact that all these things intersect and overlap is just wonderful to me. And I think that Feige and that the team over at Marvel Studios is doing just such a good job. I just, the only way to put it is I haven't had this much fun in a long, long time. Not just enjoying the show, but hearing your thoughts, talking about it in the spoiler group, watching videos. I mean, I never used to watch YouTube. Now I'm watching YouTube all the time and watching people who are way smarter and nerdier than I am, who are brilliant in being able to dissect these things and putting out amazing content, not just week after week, but day after day, really sort of breaking down it scene by scene and Easter eggs and spoilers and theories and tiebacks to the comics. I love the fact that there is this Marvel universe, not just the cinematic and the TV universe, but the comic universe that all is intersecting and overlapping. I will lose it if Spider-Man shows up. I will lose my mind. I will literally need coronary resuscitation at that time because I'm not expecting that, but it's, yeah. WandaVision, Mandalorian have been a great ride. And Chris, look, that's what Disney Plus has been doing. And I talked about this on the Nation call a couple of nights ago. The fact that Mandalorian goes right into WandaVision, that goes right into Falcon, that goes right into Loki, that goes right into whatever's next. And that's why I call it breadcrumbing. Like they're breadcrumbing us along, following us along. And then who knows what's going to happen after that, right? What's going to happen come July, August as the new seasons start up again, and what maybe is going to be introduced that we haven't been told yet. Because I don't think that Marvel and Disney Plus necessarily tip their entire hand. I think there are many aces up their sleeves in terms of content that they might be producing. And we know that the other Marvel stuff is coming. We know that Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk and all these things are coming down the pike. But man, it is a good time to be a fan. Matthew's still holding out for the the Pacino appearance. Look, it wouldn't be the first time that Pacino played the devil. So, and I love Al Pacino. Like I love Al Pacino. Always been one of my favorite actors. Him and De Niro have always been some of my favorite actors. So it'll be very interesting to see there have been so many different theories, right? Is it Mephisto? Is it Nightmare? Is it Chthon? Is it Pacino? Is it this? There's so many wonderful theories, and who cares if you're right or wrong? It doesn't matter, right? What matters is that we're having fun, we're having these conversations, and it's bringing not just people together in places like this and in the clubhouse, but it's bringing families together, right? Friday night is becoming this, we're going to order pizza and wings, and we're getting on the couch and we're watching WandaVision, right? And we're talking about it, and we're screaming at the TV. I mean, there's no talking in my house. I don't allow it, at least during the first run. But then after, we're talking and we're theorizing and we're watching it again. And it's so much fun to be able to, look, Disney Plus is doing now what Wonderful World of Disney did with Walt. It is bringing families together around the TV for just fun family entertainment that everybody can enjoy together. And I loved it. I loved it. Kevin Tolman, shut your face. Are you talking about the original Hardy Boys, as in like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew mysteries from like 1982, 3, with oh god, with the hair. I can see his face. Kenneth, the original Hardy Boys, and oh my god, I can see the girl. She was in Poseidon Adventure, one of my favorite movies. She was in the Nancy Drew mysteries too. Is it really the original ones or on Hulu? Siri, hey Siri. Forget it. You know what? I like Alexa so much better. Sean Cassidy. Parker Stevenson, and Sean Cassidy. If it's that one, I would lose my little marbles. Marla Chan, Sean Cassidy, and Parker. Marla Chan, you're too young to remember those. Pamela Sue Martin. Yes. Oh my God, I used to love those. I have, again, not watching a lot of TV other than WandaVision, but my little bit of TV that I do watch really is just going back and watching old stuff, very sentimental right now. So I've watched Lost multiple times, Battlestar Galactica, rewatching that, really, really enjoyed it. But if Hardy Boys is there, what's the other one? I just thought about something the other day that I hadn't thought about. It was Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors, and it was like the Lost spaceship or the something spaceship, where Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors like land in LA and pick up these two kids, basically inadvertently kidnap them, and they go like on these like wacky Sid and Marty Krofft always had the best shows ever. So it's a new series on Hulu. Oh, I was so excited for a second. But so Tina says, what are we watching after WandaVision? And we're going to go right into Falcon and Winter Soldier. I know that there's a rumor going around that there's going to be a mystery surprise 10th episode of WandaVision. May or may not be true. I know that the week in between, they are going to have a making of WandaVision series. That's going to be sort of our palate cleanser before we get to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Beth Strickland, Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. I almost started singing it, and like this is my Sleestack impression. The Lost Saucer. It was a lost saucer. Man. Chris, as you get that Other Media podcast going, I'm your guy. Chris, if I could find the time, man, I would do it in a heartbeat. Yeah, Jim Neighbors and Ruth Buzzy was in the Lost Saucer. Okay, so here is your most obscure bit of Disney trivia, and I'm going to connect Jim Neighbors, Jim Neighbors, that was so bad, I'm sorry, Jim Neighbors to Walt Disney World. Here's the connection. I'll put it in a form of a question, Alec. Who was the last person to land a private plane at the stall port, the short takeoff and landing port, right here by Magic Kingdom, by Contemporary? Who was the last person to land a private plane at the stall port in Walt Disney World? One Jim Neighbors. He came here for it was like a candlelight processional or something, because Jim Neighbors, golly, like that weird voice, had this amazing singing voice. And for those of you who don't know who Jim Neighbors is, you'll have to look up Gomer Pyle USMC. But yeah, so that's it. That's it. So there's your connection from Jim Neighbors to, Cousin used to carry a picture of Sean Cassidy. I used to carry Lisa Welch, whatever, never mind. Far Out Space Nuts. Far Out Space Nuts with Bob Denver and oh my God, his name is escaping me right now. Bob Denver and the bigger guy. I can't remember what his name is, but I'm with you. He was amazing on the Muppet Show. I know who Ruth Buzzy is because you watched the Muppet Show. Jim Neighbors saying, back home again in Indiana every year at the Indy 500 race. There you go. Who would have thought? And if you know who Jim Neighbors is, like he played this goofy Gomer Pyle in the USMC. Jim was on Andy Griffith too. I didn't watch Andy Griffith a lot. I was terrified of the Slee Stack, but I still watched it. I loved the original Land of the Lost. I just thought it was for me, like some of my favorite, like, you know, Saturday morning, after school TV. Uh, Little crush on Holly. Slight crush on Holly too. So, Patricia Knapp says Gomer had a gorgeous voice, sang on the Carol Burnett show to dream the impossible dream, which, by the way, I loved. I still love Carol Burnett. I almost bought those stupid Time Life DVDs years ago because I loved Carol Burnett's show so much. Like it was like a CBS, wasn't it like CBS 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night or something like that, like on Sunday nights or Saturday nights. Um, yeah, I liked Carol Burnett a lot. So thanks a lot. Now I have the Land of the Lost theme song stuck in my head. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. And now when I say Land of the Lost, I don't mean the really bad Will Ferrell. And I like Will Ferrell a lot. I did not like his Land of the Lost all that much. Andrew, I almost did surprise, but I'm not. I can't do it because my impression is so bad. It is so bad. Jeff C says, I still watch the clip of Tim Conway as the dentist when I needle a Mrs. Sir Huygens. Could you please come in here? Carol is on every night at 11 p.m. on MeTV, says Fred Abley from GetMeCoding.com, by the way. Chris Upper says, here's a Star Trek connection. I saw a production of The Man of La Mancha where Brett Spiner, yes, Data, played Quixote. Who would have thought that all these guys have such varied careers? But there you go. So it's so funny how our conversation starts with Disney and then sometimes radically shifts to other things. Watching Tim Conway destroy Harvey Korman is one of the best ways to spend time watching TV after WandaVision. And I love when they are not able to control their laughter and they're desperately trying to keep it together. And I love Harvey Korman. Like, I love Harvey Korman a lot, not just on that show, but in so many other films too, including things like, Blazing Saddles. It's Headley. My favorite Martian with oh God, I can see him. The old man. This is my old brain. Oh God, who was my favorite Martian, Robert? Or it was it was Mr. Hand from I was trying to think of a more modern reference. He played Mr. Hand, and I can't remember what his name is. Gosh, it's going to drive me crazy now. The shaking laughter and the tight lips. Levi says, now you're getting me into a Flash. And I actually have a Flash Gordon Funko Pop up there. My brother and I and my buddy David as a kid, we watched Flash Gordon because you only had limited amount of videotapes, right? We watched Flash Gordon. So Ray Walton, we watched Flash Gordon so many times. We used to play Flash Gordon in Dave's basement in Plainfield, New Jersey. Crazy. Ray Walton, Bill Bixby, the original Incredible Hulk. Of course, they called him David Banner instead of Bruce Banner, and I never understood why. Because even the old cartoon song went, Doc Bruce Banner, belted by gamma rays, turned into the Hulkanian glamorous. But for some reason, they called him David Banner instead. Martin Chagall, I still love Flash Gordon. And you can see Flash Gordon in Ted. Not for the kids, but Flash Gordon is in Ted. So there you go. See, this is why I need to do my retro podcast. Or my retro, like, video. If I do a video show, that's a lot more work because then I got to do all the graphics and stuff. And again, one guy doing it all by himself. Yeah, Chris, I don't know why they called him David Banner. But same thing. Hulk was on, I think, CBS too, right? I think Hulk was like a Tuesday night, 7:30, 8 o'clock CBS deal. Hulk was never my favorite superhero, but I loved the I think because I was always a superhero fan. I just loved having superhero shows on TV. Brian Dennis, Death to Ming. Um, I loved Flash Gordon for so many reasons, and I'm not saying that I had a crush on the, but whatever. It's a separate conversation. Bill Bixby also did The Magician. I saw a few episodes of The Magician, and I understand, Chris, why that would be a favorite show of yours. But yeah, and The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Let me tell you about my best friend. We were walking hand in hand. We were walking hand in hand, and talking man to son, something like that. I'm singing the song in my head, but if I start singing it out loud, I'm gonna sing it out loud. So, uh, yeah. So Lou Ferrigno, I remember Lou Ferrigno being the Hulk, and Lou Ferrigno actually has a cameo in the Marvel Hulk. He has a cameo alongside Stan Lee, which I think I'm going to do. And I actually wrote this down earlier as I was thinking about the show tonight. I'm going to do my top 5 Stan Lee cameos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Carlos Bravo, that's right. They had Captain America and Spectre. They had all 3. And I loved the, something Hammond. David Hammond, Richard Hammond was the guy who played Spider-Man in the 70s. It was super cheesy. Captain America was awful, but Spider-Man was super cheesy, but I still loved it. Just because, again, I, being the Spider-Man enthusiast that I am. Chloe is begging me to say, Chloe, be careful what you wish for. I'm telling you, you don't want to hear me sing. Nicholas Hammond. Nicholas, yeah, I should know his first name, right? That's who I named my son after. Sorry, Dad. I named after little Nicholas Hammond. So, Guy Williams, I love Lost in Space, and I almost did a really, really bad impression of Dr. Smith, who, by the way, also was the voice of Lucifer in the aforementioned Battlestar Galactica. So go back, watch Battlestar Galactica. It's on the NBC app. You can watch the 78 Battlestar Galactica series on for free on the NBC app, which is not that great. A lot of commercials, and they're all the same. If I see that State Farm commercial one more time, I'm gonna never use State Farm ever. But the initial 78 Battlestar Galactica series was great. The 80 series was unwatchable because it wasn't Battlestar Galactica. It was Galactica on Earth with not the real cast, and like they're teaching Cub Scouts about life lessons. Like it was really, 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 really bad. Really bad. I've heard the new Lost in Space is good. I have not seen it. Spider-Man on the Electric Company was great. Here's a trivia question for you. What current A-list celebrity got his start on the Electric Company? And it's funny because when you go back and you watch them, you're like, it's almost awkward because this person is such a prominent actor, actress right now. But seeing him in that, late 70s, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, Morgan Freeman. I saw a clip not too long ago, and it was Morgan Freeman and Rita Moreno, and he was like talking to this computer, but he had like this total like cool man Jimi Hendrix like vest vibe going on. It was very interesting. But yeah, Morgan Freeman. Clearly there's a lot of people who are around my age, or at least just know that bit of trivia. Amanda Slade from Fort Myers, Florida, as a former resident of Naples, Florida. I dig me some Fort Myers. I miss the beach. One thing I miss about being here in Orlando is I miss the beach desperately. So, Easy Reader. That's it. It was Easy Reader. I couldn't remember what it was because Rita Moreno would be like telling you all the names that are like she's helping you read the words that are on there, and then he comes in and then he's talking to the Easy Reader computer. I did not see Wonder Woman 84, and listen, I have tried to watch the DC movies multiple times, and Good Lord, they're awful. They're awful. I'm sorry. I want to like them. Like I loved the original Superman with Gene Hackman and Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder growing up. I loved the original Batman. There's only one Batman for me, and his name is Michael Keaton. I loved those films. It's not a DC versus Marvel thing. Um, I watched the Adam West Batman series as a kid growing up, but the current DC films are so bad. They're so bad. I mean, I cannot get through some of them. And it's a shame because I love superhero stories, but there's parts that it just there it's not like a there's some movies that are like so bad they're like intentionally bad, but that's part of like Toxic Avenger is meant to be bad, which makes it so good. It's like DC is trying to do that, but like when he's like, I'm going to kill you. Wait, your mom's name is Martha too. Like, good. Who writes that? And it's like, yeah, your mom's name is Martha too. That's a great line. It's not. And even Wonder Woman 84, I can't. I just can't do it. Um, Brian, I'm screaming Miss Tessmacher in my. It's just a little place. Otisburg. Gene Hackman, so good in that movie. That's one I need to go back and watch. I want to watch that again, except when he takes Margot Kidder and they're flying at night, and that really like weird 70s like lovey-dovey romantic music is playing. It's a little awkward. She's in that like blue flowy negligee thingy. You got me. Who's got you? Whatever. I watch that movie a lot too. And then the Richard Pryor one. Whatever. Kneel Before Zod. Um, just, just a little place. Otisburg. Check out the Donner cut of Superman 2. I know. The best Joker is Jack. You're right. I applaud, and I watched Joker. I applaud his performance in Joker. Remarkable work. Great, but it's not, you know. Look, I'll say Burgess Meredith is the best Penguin. he's the best Batman villain. So let's see. Are these my Edith glasses? No, these are my I'm getting old and can't see glasses because I wear contacts and I need reading glasses so I can read your comments. So Heath Ledger Joker was fine. He was great. Great performance. It's a tragedy, etc. But yeah, it's just not. I think we all have, the whether it's the movie, the character, the portrayal that we all grew up with, that we love, that becomes very we attach ourselves to. Like I know that the 1960s Batman was awful, but Batman was my friend after school. That's what I watched when I came home. So I was always a superhero fan, and I'm still trying to find, and Mom, if they're still somewhere, let me find them when I go to Jersey. I had all the Mego figures. I had Batman, I had Aquaman. I'm still trying to find my Spider-Man still in the box, although I think somebody stole them from me. So I loved just all of the superheroes themselves. I wasn't sort of partial one over the other. I loved reading comic books, but I know everybody thinks Dark Knight is like the greatest superhero movie ever. It's fine. It doesn't do it for me. It's just not. And that's the beauty of it, because I know that Wonder Woman and Batman v Superman is probably somebody's favorite movie. The same way that Pizza Rizzo and Stitch's Great Escape are somebody's favorites. Mazel tov, man. Whatever works for you, but it's just not. It's not my thing. So, Jody Rice, I loved the Bam and the Pow. I loved Sid Caesar as Joker. I loved Burgess Meredith. I loved Frank Gorshin as the Riddler. I know it was silly and it was cheesy and it was all those things, but for me, I see that and it brings back a well of memories of growing up with that as a kid. And Darren, my dad, wherever he is giving you a high five. My dad, I always remember my dad had a huge crush on Linda Carter. So, The characters held their own without relying on the comic book lore. It almost felt new and original rather than modern, edgy reinventions like the current. Yeah, the DC universe, like Deadpool says, it's so dark. Are you sure you're not from the DC universe? The DC universe is very dark. It's just not. It's just not my thing. And I did not love the Dark Knight trilogy at all. Like I've seen them once. I tried watching Dark Knight a couple of times, and I just couldn't. It just didn't. It just didn't do it for me. So, Stitch's Great Escape. But look, Jennifer, there's probably somebody out there. I'm assuming just by virtue of the odds, somebody probably loved Stitch's Great Escape. You know, there's something is everybody's favorite. I will never ever dismiss anything, whether it's a movie, a restaurant, a show, an actor, whatever, because that's the beauty is, we all have our favorites and there's no right or wrong. There's people that don't like WandaVision. I don't know why, but they don't like and that's cool. Like, and here in 2021, we have the blessing of so much content to choose from. And now the content is not just created by the gatekeepers at the studios who determine what script gets put through, what actor is going to portray a role, but we are empowered to become content creators ourselves just by virtue of this. God only knows what sort of messages are on there, which is why I quickly turned it around. And I love that, right? Because we're consuming so much content that's created by other consumers. We all have the power to be storytellers and to share our messages out, whether it's video, podcast, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, wherever your voice lies, you have the ability to reach the whole planet, except for like China and some other places like where there's restrictions. But you understand what I'm saying, which is incredibly liberating for the creators and the creatives. And it's a gift to us as consumers, because whatever it is that you like, there's somebody out there who's making something about it, right? I will guarantee you that there's probably more than one Battlestar Galactica podcast. Somebody did a show about Land of the Lost and the Sid and Marty Krofft series and the Rankin Bass Christmas specials and all those things. And because we don't have to wait for a studio to budget it and approve it. And I think that's why we live in such an amazing time. And I am somebody who is just, I am oozing gratitude at all times. And when I can turn on the TV and from the comfort of my couch or my phone or on a plane in like space, I can have access to shows that I grew up with, or somebody talking about a show that I grew up with, or, conversations and reviews and spoiler discussions. Like, what a gift. Like, what a gift. And you don't need to go anywhere. You don't have to have anything except, a phone and internet and maybe a subscription. And I do. And it's silly, I know, but when I turn on the TV and I can go to, whatever app it is, whether it's Hulu or Peacock or CBS All Access, and be like, God, I really miss this show, or it pops up as a suggested offering. And you're like, oh my God, I haven't thought about this in so many years. And you can see something again or see it for the first time. And for me, the new Battlestar Galactica that I'm watching, I never got through the whole series. I only got through part of season 1. So this is all brand new for me. So I'm watching and things are unfolding that happened, and I just realized 17 years ago. But to me, it feels like it's happening day to day or week to week, and it's there for me all the time. And I know I sound like an old man, but it's crazy that we have access to all this. And what a time that we live in, as opposed to when we were kids and you had 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and sometimes 13 on your TV that you had to turn the dial, where you had the cable box that was wired up, and that's all you had. And TV went off at 11:30 after the Honeymooners and Odd Couple, and they played the national anthem, and that was it. It's incredible. It is incredible what we have. Mark Whiting, Witchy Poo from HR Puffin Stuff. which I'm now singing that song in my head. Jimmy and his magic flute. Jimmy, why are you getting on a boat? There's a boat in the middle of the lake and you just get on it? What's wrong with you? Where were Jimmy's parents? That's bad parenting. That's how HR Puffin stuff. That's the takeaway lesson. Bad parenting. Witchy Poo turns the cute little boat into the dark boat, and she's waving her little wand, and she's got that weird looking vulture thing as her like crony. Whatever. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, same thing. But the bugaboos, they're in the air and everywhere, flying free. What about the one that was like the car? Oh my God. The three kids found the old, what's it called? Like the car in the junkyard, and they put the horn on it and became like this magic flying, like cool 70s car. Oh my God, what's it called? It was really stupid. The banana splits. I can go on and on and on, but you don't want to hear. This is supposed to be a show about Disney, and now I'm reminiscing about, no, it wasn't Speed Buggy. The Wonder Bug. That's it. It was the Wonder Bug. The Bugaboos. The 80s McDonald's characters were inspired by HR Puffin stuff. Who's your friend when things get rough? HR Puffin stuff. Can't do a little because he can't do enough. I have HR Puffin stuff. He's a Funko. I have HR Puffin stuff, and he's right next to Sigmund, who's right next to Willy Wonka, Buddy the Elf, and for some reason, Austin Powers, Don Corleone, Beetlejuice, and Pennywise the Clown, and Judge Smales from Caddyshack. It's a very eclectic mix up on that shelf, but Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So I was desperate when I went to my mom's house. I used to have the Corgi car, the Corgi metal Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car with the wings that popped out. Oh, you Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, we love you. Written by the Sherman Brothers, given permission by Disney because Disney was friends with Albert Broccoli, who was producing it, and they let the Sherman Brothers temporarily out of the contract to go write the music as long as they promised to come back. And we get "Oh You Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, we love you." Thank you. Don't get Martin started with the banana splits. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. If I keep saying it, I'm going to start singing it, and this video will live forever, and I'll never be able to live it down. Although Becky is quiet, which means she's probably not here, which means it's probably relatively safe. I'd pay $500 to see the. Wow, you paid $500 to see the whiteboard? I'm just going to start making up stuff and put it on there for that. Yeah. Amanda, I think you're talking about my singing, and yes, it would absolutely be terrifying. Lidsville was so stupid, right? So the kids go to see a magic show at the circus, and at night, all the kids leave except for the one dude. He's like, I'm going to go and sneak into the magician's tent. And he does, and he like takes the hat, and it grows like into this big, huge hat, which is like a giant, and then jumps inside. Again, excuse me, I don't know where these kids' parents were. But then again, we also used to go to the playground and go on monkey bars without helmets and whatever. So, oh, that's right. It was Butch Patrick from the Munsters, which I loved. I was more of a Munsters guy than an Addams Family guy. I liked Morticia and Gomez. The rest of the cast I didn't love as much. I wanted Fred Gwynn to be my dad. Like, not my dad, but like I liked Fred Gwynn a lot. And there was always like good takeaway lessons from the Munsters too. And I liked Grandpa. And I always wanted a dragon under my stairs. I grew up in a big old Victorian house, and we had this huge staircase in the front. And I always used to imagine like that my staircase would lift up, and underneath it we would have a monkey bars with cement for the base. Right. Where were the lawyers back then? Vincent Price. Put on the Banana Splits theme song. One of the happiest themes ever. If I do it, and didn't they just like redo some like scary banana split, like banana split? There's like a scary version of the Banana Splits, like some horror movie. Like they were going to remake the Banana Splits, and somebody bought the rights to it, and then they couldn't, or they changed their mind, and then they made it like into a horror movie. Talk amongst yourselves. I know that that's really a thing. That's not the real one. Wait a minute. That's not the real one. That's not the real one either. What are all these fake Banana Splits? Oh, Lord. What is this? See, that's not even right. That's the fake Banana Split song. And this is what I now I'm going to be now I'm criticizing the remakes of the oh. See, now there must be some sort of weird like music licensing thing with the original Banana Splits theme song. Of course, it doesn't matter. Uh, Facebook is still going to flag this anyway. The Bugaloos, they're in the air and everywhere. Um, Saturday Stupid. It's close, Beatrice and Brian, but it's not. Um, you know what else? A show I love too. I love the Monkees. I love the Monkees a lot. Davy Jones and uh, Mike Nesmith. Mike Nesmith's mother invented whiteout. I'm. Do you see why I wrote a trivia book? Because I'm full of stupid, useless information, and I didn't date a lot. Girls never liked me, so I know that Michael Nesmith's mom invented whiteout. That's it. That's um, that's it. Hey, hey, we're the Monkees. And people say we monkey around. What is this? What is this? Okay. Hey, hey, we're the Monkees. So I loved Scooby Doo. I loved sort of the mystery and the meddling kids and the Scooby snacks. But then Scrappy Doo jumps the shark. It jumped the proverbial shark, which, by the way, jumped the shark came from Happy Days, because Happy Days with Pat Morita as opposed to Al, who ran Arnold. Pat Morita as the original Arnold. Everything was fine on Happy Days, even when they introduced Chachi, and it literally the show jumped the shark when Fonzie jumped the shark. When Fonzie, trying to impress a girl or win something, jumped the shark, and that's what happened, and the show went downhill from there, and that's where that euphemism came from. And I even watched Joni Love Chachi a couple of times, but Derek Pellerin, I've watched every episode of Gilligan's Island as a kid over and over, and I used to play a game by myself. This goes to show you, when I tell you I didn't have a lot of friends, I'm not lying. I would see how long it would take me to identify what episode of Gilligan's Island it was by the first few seconds. So I would know by like 10 seconds is like, oh, this is the one with the radioactive seeds. And Marianne eats the beets because she likes beets. And because beets have all that sugar, she has like super speed. And because Ginger liked carrot and they were radioactive, she had supervision. So she was able to see the ship that was all the way out there, but it was miles away. So letting a signal fire didn't get out a lot. Didn't do a lot of athletics. Didn't have a lot of friends. But yeah. And I loved Dawn Wells. I was a Marianne guy over a Ginger guy. I mean, if I had the choice. So Beth Strickland, $6 Million Man, and then Jamie Summers as the Bionic Woman. I had my 12-inch Steve Austin, a man barely alive. We have the technology. We could rebuild him. Better, stronger, faster. Do 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 do. Oh, I sang a little bit. Oh, but I had the figure where for some reason he had a hole in the back of his head, and you look through, and he had like this bionic eye, which really was just sort of like this wide angle lens, and you could take this little computer piece out of his arm and out of his chest. And for some reason, they made an Oscar Goldman doll. And all Oscar Goldman did was wear his tweed jacket and have a suitcase. And that's it. And then they made Bigfoot. They made the Bigfoot doll. And then they made the Jamie Summers Bionic Woman doll. Crystal Steers, always good to see you. Have a good night, and thank you. Maybe next week I'm going to bring up. I have two of my Mego action play sets downstairs. I have the bridge, the whole Enterprise, and I've got Planet of the Apes and all the action figures with all their accessories still in my garage. Maybe I'll dust off that box and bring it up next week. Even though I know this is not the retro podcast, it's the Disney show. But um, let's see. So you had a Jamie doll. Um, we were lucky to get it. You couldn't even get it. You couldn't get a $6 million man, but you had an Action Man figure. I also had the GI Joe dolls, action figures, the 12-inch ones that I had the Foot Locker, and I had like the scuba one and like the jungle one, and he had like me, he had like scruff, but it wasn't plastic. It was like this weird like synthetic fuzz on GI Joe's face, and he had like the little plastic hat, and he had the uniform and all kinds of cool little accessories, and there was like a shark, and I thought he was still in storage, but I have yet to find GI Joe in any of my mom's stuff. So when I go back um, next week, by the way, I'll get to there. So William Krapskinski, I did have Micronauts. Actually, I just sold a Micronaut on eBay. I had the Micronauts, and I had the little horse, the little Micronaut horse, and I remember they were the how well and the multi levels of articulation that the Micronauts had. Because like the Star Wars action figures, they just sort of had the shoulder action and the stupid lightsaber that came out of his arm. But the Micronauts had multiple points of articulation, which is one of the things I thought was so very cool about him. G.I. Joe's eyes moved back. Did they really? See, I don't remember that. We got us on we had a Spider-Man Stretch Armstrong. I remember my brother had Stretch Armstrong, and he put him like in the freezer or the microwave. Like I think he put him in the freezer, or I don't remember, the freezer or the microwave. We were really young because he was curious as to what was going to happen. And I remember it didn't end well, and Stretch never stretched again. That weird jelly stuff that was inside never really, yeah. Jennifer Morris Lee, thank you very much. Have a good night. See you next week. Did the Micronauts have magnets like on the front or the back so you could like attach accessories to them? Right? And maybe that's why. Maybe they had like the metal points of articulation so you could snap on different stuff to them or like take pieces on and off. Did we get Captain Scarlet? I've never heard of Captain Scarlet. I know Scarlet Witch. I know Scarlett Johansson, but I don't know. G.I. Joe's beard was flocking. He was flocking. Quisp and Quake. So Mike Vidal, I remember Quisp cereal. Somebody sent it. One of you sent me Quisp cereal a few months ago. Maybe it was a year ago. Time, whatever. But you sent me, and forgive me, I don't remember who it was, sent me 4 boxes of Quisp cereal. And my kids are like, that cereal is like 40 years old and you're going to eat them? Like, no, they've redone it again. But Quisp, like everything else, was just puffed whatever with lots of sugar on top. So let me see. I have watched Toys That Made Us. I loved it, except like the My Little Pony and Barbie stuff. That was never my thing. So Robert Orr, the diving helmet. That's right. He had this huge gray helmet, and didn't the front panel, the front part of his mask open? It was on like a swing, but it was like this big, it was like an olive diving suit that had the hose and the big sort of old timey, military diving helmet. I forgot about that. I'm going to be doing a lot of Googling, and please somebody keep me off the eBay, because if you see a G.I. Joe here next week, I either got him from my mom's house or I bought him on eBay, and I'm trying to get stuff out. I can't move the camera over that way, but I have 3, let's see, they're 54 quart buckets stacked up, and I see Star Trek, Ricochet Racers, Spider-Man, more Star Trek, More Spider-Man. I mean, at least on this side of the buckets, they're relatively. I also have Electronic Detective sitting there from when I was a kid. Wait, see if you remember this. Anybody remember this? Playing this game as a kid. So I remember getting this for Christmas and playing it in my grandmother's kitchen by myself because my cousins were doing other stuff. But I love the idea of you had all these like little cards and you put them in there. It was like Clue, but it was electronic, and you had to like figure out who the murderer was. I'll bet you this thing still works. I will bet you this thing still works. I don't know why I have this or why I keep it, but it's still like in perfect condition too. I always took care of my stuff. Like I even put my little cards in Ziploc bags. Lenny Little. Yeah, Lou Mangello, you're living in the past, man. You're living in the past, but that's all right. So, um, Keith Speed Racer. Here he comes. Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. He's a demon, and he's gonna be chasing after someone. And he had the little monkey. I didn't know that Speed Racer was anime like before it was anime. I just loved Speed Racer, and I have a Mach 5 little car somewhere in there because I used to think I wanted to be a race car driver, and I loved the Mach 5. So, yeah. You'll treat. Oh, you had a 2XL. I remember 2XL. Remember all the Tomy robots? All the different Tomy made a line of different interactive robots. It was 2XL, the big one with the cassette player on the front that had the tray. It was like a remote control and had the tray too. I know. This now, do you see why I need to? I'm doing an unboxing. I've never done an unboxing. Oh no, that's not true. Last week I did it with my Battlestar Galactica, my sideshow collectible. I was really because I was that impressed with the stuff that I saw. It's still. I mean, I don't know how much you can see on with the camera, but the level of detail and the quality of this is, and the stand is over there. But and I still have my Cylon Raider and my Viper, my original Viper from 1978. So I never saw Kimba the White Lion, which supposedly a lot of people accuse Disney of stealing that story for The Lion King. But I did love Speed Racer. I did love Speed Racer and the Mach 5. So there you go. So we went completely off topic onto and I apologize if you tuned in for Disney and we ended up going down the 70s and 80s rabbit hole. I apologize. I never got to do a top 5 tonight because I didn't have one prepared because it's been a crazy day, and we never got to our 20 questions. But I have cool stuff from the 20 question prize closet here, not just including the mug, not just including. I'll show you this. You guys have not seen this before. Brand spanking new, and I found. I wanted to get new pins made up, but I wanted to do something that was different than the traditional, because all sort of the enamel pins kind of look the same. So I wanted to do something different. So I did a trial run, and I really dig them. So I'll show you guys. I gave these out at Everglazed, but these are cool, like 3D WDW Radio, like acrylic pins that are super high quality. Like I love the fact that unlike the other pins, the enamel pins. Oh, there you go. Unlike the enamel pins, sometimes the detail doesn't come through. These can get really, really detailed. I gotta find the right spot. There you go. And I like the fact that they're cool and that they're different because they're on this acrylic base. So I'm going to start giving some of these away as prizes as well. I've also got some other cool stuff. I've got ears. I've got blankets. I have a lot of stuff in the prize closet that and a little CD case. Yeah, it's different. I wanted, like I said, I wanted to do something that was different than all the other pins that you see. So this is something that I'll start giving away in prizes as well. Also, when I go to the parks, I'll start keeping a pocket full with me. Speaking of parks, just a quick reminder that tomorrow I am going to be sharing stories, maybe some live from Blizzard Beach and EPCOT as part of the Taste of EPCOT Flower and Garden Festival. So if you happen to be in EPCOT, if I see you there, say hi. We'll maybe share a nosh. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like, so just turn on notifications. And let's see, what else? Oh, that's last week's. Hold on. I can't find my Nation thing. Anyway, thank you to everybody who's part of the Nation family. Again, if you want to find out how you can not only help the show, but get exclusive rewards, you can please visit WDWRadioNation.com. And also be sure and check out everything we have going on, not just the live video, but the podcast, the community. Stay tuned to the blog. We're just about to start a bunch of new blog series and onboard some new blog writers as well. If you're looking to write for the blog, reach out to me. Or if you go to, let me see if I can find I can't find the graphic. Go to www.radio.com/contribute. You can find out how you can help there. Don't forget, as always, our friends over at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I think Becky is long gone because I have not gotten any mean texts or bad comments. But if you're looking to book your trip, please go and check them out. Also, if you dig some of the stuff that I've been showing you, like my Battlestar Galactica, you can go to www.radio.com/sideshow. They have an amazing collection there, and everything from Marvel and Star Wars and Disney and retro cool stuff. And they're always coming out with new designs and artwork all the time. And let's get rid of that. Finally, most importantly, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so very much for being here this and every week. If you want to help the show, the best way to do that is by, the graphic's not working. Anyway, do me a favor. If you like the show, please help spread the word. Tell a friend, share a link to this week's or your favorite episode, and invite your friends to join us in the clubhouse. And of course, always remember to please choose the good in everything that you do and everyone that you encounter, and be the good. And remember that positivity is contagious. I love you. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for indulging me tonight on our trip down memory lane. I hope it was as much fun for you. If there's something you want me to you want to hear on an upcoming show, by all means, reach out and let me know. And if you can take a second to rate and review the show, that's super helpful too. And if there's ever anything else I can do for you, just let me know. I am here to help you, because you are not a fan. You know I don't like that word. You are not a listener, and you're more than a friend. You're family. Stay safe. I love you. See ya.